Hi, this is Susanne McAllister. This is your weekly show with me. I'm the founder of the International Anxiety Academy, and I have anxious children, and I also have helped parents of anxious children to guide them through. And this is the second part of the series about thought distortions that we have. So, do you subscribe to the all or nothing thinking often? Because that's something that I have been guilty of, and definitely a lot of my clients feel like that as well. So let me give you an example. I sing in a band, and whenever we do a recording or like somebody records and then shows it to me or posts it, I always do listen to myself and I think, oh my God, I should never sing again. This sounds horrendous, and look at me and this and this. And I feel completely overwhelmed, and I really need to use my own practical things that I teach my clients and diffuse my own thinking, because I really need to pull it back and then ask myself some questions and use my own coaching model that I use. So I can't be perfect, neither can my clients be perfect, but often we wonder, like, why do we bother at all? And that's what happens. My client Sarah as well. So she is a 10-year-old girl, and she comes see me regularly, and then we really dissect all the all or nothing thinking she has. She's like, my friend dumped me this week, and therefore I'm a bad friend. I will never have another friend in my life. I'm gonna not have another friend. I'm gonna go to uni and nobody will like me, and this is what it is. So when you start to think like that, and it's time to do something about it. I also have clients that start a diet, like the Monday morning diet, or this is what we're going to do, and then on Monday morning everything's good, and I've got the green smoothie, and then my lunchtime is good, but then at night I feel hungry and I feel deprived, and they order a pizza, and then like that diet is over till the next Monday, because you can only start a diet on a Monday. So that's definitely, so this is like the all or nothing thinking. So if you've fallen into this trap of all or nothing thinking, and this is you, so I'd like to hear about this, because that's definitely been me. That's definitely been me, and that has definitely been lots and lots and lots of my clients. And please comment if you can relate to this at all. Please subscribe to the channel, and I give you new tips every week. So the biggest roadblock is your mindset, my mindset and that of my clients. So, but how can we change that? So is it possible that that we can depend on how we're thinking about it, and that we depend on being perfect? So this is what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to give you like 7 steps how to crush that kind of thinking, and to challenge and change your thoughts and your beliefs and your attitudes, because it always comes back to our attitude. These are the exact same steps that I use for myself as well, and to get out of self-sabotage, because just because I've been a therapist for so many years doesn't mean I'm perfect, and nobody is. So I'm going to challenge my all or nothing thinking. But yeah, let's dive a little bit deeper. I'd really, really like to hear how you're going with all of that. There's so many examples where we use that all or nothing thinking. Another one of my clients comes to mind, where for a while she didn't get the job that she wanted. She used to keep applying, and it was like, so she didn't hear, it was like there was no gray. It was always like, I must be a terrible person, nobody wants to employ me, I'm gonna be stuck in this job that she really hated for a long time. So we need to like put the program that we run in our brain there on pause, and then focus. So we think in these absolute things, and we use things like always and never, and where we make it an absolute thing. that we do. So like the client with the diet. So if you eat a piece of pizza or 2 pieces of pizza, or even if you eat a whole pizza, doesn't mean that you're a terrible person. It's just, so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you then say, see, I knew I could be sticking to it, I've tried it before, and if I can't do it 100%, then I can't do it at all. But what about if we use like these little steps by steps by steps? So if we fall off, then we'll like dust ourselves off, and we get up again. Because the truth is that the sun and the stars, if they have to align for everything to be perfect until everything happens just the way we want it to happen, then it's never going to happen, is it? And then often we use that to protect ourselves as well, to not set ourselves up. That's I talked about that last week in the video about the catastrophizing. But there's not such thing for an ideal time and the things that are just right, and this is the perfect time, and this is when we're actually in the grips of the all or nothing thinking. It's like you're trapped in a dark room and you can't see a way out. Like shit, with the job, it's like shit, this is me. I will be here forever and ever and ever, and it's just gonna be bad. And this is why it is a cognitive distortion, because is this really truth? Is this really the way it is? And sometimes when we're trapped in it, we need somebody like a coach and a therapist like me to actually look into this and look into it and make yourself understand that that's misleading and irrational, because it's a false and inaccurate view of the situation and the world around you. But when we're trapped in it, it's very, very hard to see that, because when you're in the black and white thinking, it might really derail even your best effort to stay on track with your goals that you want to achieve. So 1 minute you're like there and nothing can stop you and it's all amazing and it's like, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next minute, if it's like on a session, like a gym thing or a diet, it's like, there you are, you have only the smoothies, you throw everything out, you throw the chocolate out, and that's what it is, and you're starving, and then you're falling off and you're like finding the chocolate. So we don't want to do that, because after all, it's just one little setback. It's not forever, is it? So maybe today is over, you didn't get the phone call for the job, but it's not like the whole life is a write-up. So what are the dangers of that? That you're setting yourself up for failure. So there's no perfect days. And so when your expectations are that of like the perfection and a flawless day, so anything less looks like a failure from you. And the danger is that the pressure is really crushing you. The pressure that you put on yourself, the unrealistic expectations that you have and that you place on yourself. Yeah, so you want to be great and successful, but it's not just happening at that moment for you, and then you want to like fold it all and throw it all away and walk away. So that's the vicious cycle of stalling, starting, and then stopping. So all or nothing thinking, so has many different faces, but at its core, it's you sabotaging yourself and with your mindset. So you're waiting for the right time and the right motivation. And so one of two things happen. So one is you never cross the starting line, and you keep waiting for the right time to show up, but that just never happens. And you get caught in the start and stop loop, and you get a boost of motivation, but then things don't work out, they get hectic, and you don't feel perfect, and then you like stop, slam on the brakes. So the problem with that is that it's a trap. So it's one that research has actually shown us has strongly tied to anxiety and depression, low self-esteem, and self-criticism that never, ever, ever stops. Also is tied to a negative body image and eating disorders. And it is also just really like sabotages your life, and your anxiety just gets out of control. But, I'm not saying it's all bad. There are some advantages to this as well. That's why it is so hard to let it go. And so the 7 steps on how to crush that all or nothing thinking, we're going to get into that. So the key actually is to understand the connection between the thoughts, the emotions, and the actions. So that's actually a CBT. So in my parent program, where they help their own children, so I help the parents to help their children. And this is about the emotion. They affect your thoughts and your actions. And so your thinking affects your emotions, and then your emotions makes you take actions, and then will come in the never-ending cycle. So the relationship between thoughts, let me say it again, the relationship between thoughts, emotion, and actions is the core of cognitive behavior therapy. And we're going to look at the relationship between these 3 and how they play out in a common scenario. So let's look into some of the scenarios and for my client. So let's jump into our 7 steps. So are you ready? So step 1 is to spot the all or nothing thinking before you can change it. And yes, often we do need somebody else that can point things out. So find a professional that can help you with this, or you might have a really good friend, or you might know somebody. But yeah, so research shows that one way to shine the spotlight on negative thoughts is to be aware of the language that we use, which is so important. So whether we're talking to others or to ourselves, is really to pay attention to keywords that we use, like as I mentioned before, the always and never, this is impossible, this is never perfect, this is completely ruined, I'll never get this ready, or like in my case, like I shouldn't sing ever again, would you listen to me, that's really horrible. In the case of anxiety or diet, it's like, oh, I'm never gonna make that, and the children that I work with, I'm never gonna have friends, I never want to come out of my room, nobody wants to be my friend. It's not there's, and the excuses that we make, there's so much happening, I'm gonna tackle this another time, we're gonna just put that off for a while, so I guess like this is ruined anyway. And so just going back into and catching yourself of the language that you use. So what are the things that you catch yourself, the things that are impossible again, or then when you're like catching yourself to restart the things that you want, or if it's your child, to really closely listen to your child and do not try and fix it. Really open and asking open questions. Open questions are the ones that are you can't answer with yes or no. So it's not so, how was school today? Good. No, we don't do that. We just say, tell me about your day today. All right, number 2, describe the situation. So really catching yourself, describe the situation that led you to the thought. And you don't have to write it down, but like always helps me. So really, number 1 is catching yourself. And number 2 is to really observe what are the patterns, what are the triggers, what is really going on, and looking out for the triggers of the things that stop you. And black and white thinking, where let's go into the diet, it's like, oh, I felt a lot of pressure at work and I had to finish this, and instead of doing something like this, I went to the fridge, or I did that. In the case of the children that are like one of my children at school that I work with, it's about, like there's a new teacher and I felt a lot of pressure. So step 3 is really capture the stories that you tell, capture the thought that you had. So immediately after the trigger of you trigger the event. So what were you thinking? when that happened. So keep in mind, you've probably more than one thought to write down. So what were you thinking at the time? So what went on and what were you thinking? So maybe it was, this is impossible, I should never do this. If I start again with this, it's just going to be the worst, or this always happens to me, and this is why I'm never able to have friends in school. I never had a school in primary, never had a friend in primary school. I'm never gonna have a friend. So step 4 is to then look at the emotions. So we looked at the thoughts, now we're gonna look at the emotions. So we're gonna describe the feelings and emotions that thought created for ourselves. Maybe it's overwhelm, maybe it's frustration, maybe it's anger and despair. And often in anxiety, it's loneliness and really not feeling safe. Maybe it's just overwhelmed by the pressure of everything has to be great on social media. Maybe frustration because it's another failed attempt. And maybe angry at yourself that you just can't get it together, or at where the children are like so harsh with themselves, or despair that something always seems to be getting in the way, and whatever you try or whatever your child tries, it seems to be in vain. Maybe there was even a sense of relief that you can finally come up and avoid the discomfort of change and of trying, because this is then the moment where you're like, oh well, then it doesn't matter anyway. If this is diet, I might as well have the chocolate cake as well, because I just had the pizza and nobody's talking to me anyway today. So write that down. And then step number 5 is describe so what's the result of your thoughts and emotions. So what happened, like where are we, and so what happened when that happened? What is the result of your thinking and your feeling? That then, what did that result in? So really looking at that, and just don't ignore it. Just so if your thought was like, go back to the diet example. It's an easy one. It's impossible to keep this diet going. I'll start again when I have time to give it my full attention. And that thought then that triggered a feeling of feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, and angry. So along with really feeling desperate, like now, can't look this up. I look at the mirror, and if then the action that you took is a result of your thoughts and your emotion, it's easy to see what will happen next. Obviously, you're gonna quit the diet. You're like, have it out, and you're like, I'm done with this, until you're like, pick it up again. So the results are your thoughts and actions, and the question we come up with. So how do we change our thoughts? So changing our thoughts creates the different emotions. So this is the model, and the emotions will drive the different results. So we need to change one of the things. So we can change our thinking, we can change how we feel about something, and then that actually changes the actions that we take. All right, so number 6 is that we then challenge that thought. To challenge it, we're going to then ask yourself questions like, is that thought true all the time? Is it really like that? Should I really never sing? Because maybe somebody said, oh wow, like that was awesome. And even that, do I believe it? And does success really mean that you did something right 100% of the time, all the time? Or is it maybe where you like dust yourself off and you're like, okay, maybe I didn't hit that note, maybe I just had that pizza. And so if somebody else, if you had to give advice to somebody else in that situation, what would that be like? Would your advice to be to them be, oh, this is impossible, you should give up, you're such a loser? That would never be like that, because you would never speak to them the way you speak to yourself in your head. So that's how you then see different results on changing the thoughts and the feelings that you have. So by realizing your initial thought is probably not that true, but that's not always enough of a reason to change, is it? Because your thoughts are serving you in some way, because there are advantages in holding on to all or nothing thinking. So let me get to the payoff like that. So one is, you don't have to face the discomfort of like if it's that, sticking to a meal plan, or standing in front of people and singing, or trying to go out again, trying to make friends, to tackle that thing again that's really, really not comfortable for you. You can just continue the way you are. So you don't, so that's one of the payoffs. It's like you're avoiding the pain and you're avoiding the discomfort. You don't have to find the time and the effort to start all over again and tackle it again. All right. So you might find so many reasons why you want to hold on to the all or nothing thinking. So in fact, sometimes the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And it's even helpful to change. Is it even helpful to change that? Maybe it's okay like the way it is. Like my pants still fit me, not that good. I can go one size up. There's people that are bigger than me. And, you know, so it's about you deciding what's worth, and if it's worth it for you because you love singing and you want to be out there on stage the way I do, because I want to bring joy to the people, then I have to get over myself and about the all or nothing thinking. And that's also the same with your child. If you want that your child is happier going out there making friends, it's worth it to explore that with your child. So then we're going to choose a new thought. So the goal of the step is to find a replacement thought. Step number 7. So one that can help you to create the positive outcome and the emotions that you need to drive you to your goal. So one way to do this is to start with the action you want to take and to work backwards. So you can start with the action that you would want to take. So in the way of the diet, you'd be like, well, I don't really feel like this, and I think but you can actually go, well, I'm still gonna just eat for tomorrow morning. This is what I'm doing, and this is my breakfast smoothie. I've already made it, so I'm gonna have it, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep at it, and I'm gonna keep working on the mindset instead of all or nothing thinking, never and always, and continue with that. So because that gives you confidence in the plan that you've created, and which makes improving yourself and your thoughts more manageable and more likely to succeed. So that's how this will go. So, and you can even sit yourself down, or if you're working with your child, it's about, well, what are triggers, what are thoughts that I have, what are emotions that I have. So the goal is progress, it's not perfection. So if I fail, at least I'm failing forward, because mistakes are proof of progress, aren't they? So they're just mistakes. It's not the end of anything. So don't look back and don't look forward, just being here in the right and now. It's the only thing that matters, is like the next step forward, and how we can do that, and which thoughts do we need, who do we have to be, which thought do we need to believe, and which emotions do we have to leave. So if you're changing our thoughts, that changes our action, and when we change our thoughts, you change how you feel, and when you change how you feel, you change how you act. So this is the coaching model in the crux, and it's like the CBT model that I use in private practice as a therapist, and that I teach parents with their children, and will work through that. So moving away from self-sabotaging thoughts, the actions that drive, it's not an overnight process. So it takes daily and consistent action. And so if you're ready to take that challenge, I'm happy to help you with this. I'm here, so you have my links down here, SuzanneMcAllister.com. If you want help with this, to help your child through anxiety, through self-sabotaging patterns, and I help anxious women in their professional life as well, and to reach their relationship goals, their career goals, and their health goals. And in children, it's often about friendships. So I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry, it was a little bit of a distraction. There is a storm down here, so I had to stop in the middle. But I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I will see you next week, and we'll continue with the distorted thinking series, because I've got so much amazing feedback. So please, if you've got any questions, and if you want to see other videos on this, if you've got questions, please go in the comments. I go in there and I'll answer them as much as I can. And also let me know what other videos you would like to see here on my channel, that would help you to manage anxiety in your children or manage your own anxiety. Thanks so much. That's Suzanne McAllister. I've been a holistic therapist for over a decade, and I help all my clients online and with my programs. Thank you.